You owe it to yourself to be your best. And there are two types of people: those that stay in their comfort zone and remain stuck, and then there are those that dare to dream and execute. Which one are you? And the way I see it, you have three options. You can stay stuck in your comfort zone. Two, you can live a life full of regret. And three, you can take a chance on yourself and see where it takes you and become who God designed you to be. And if nothing else, you can learn and grow in the process, because the journey to self discovery is a process. And out of those three options, which one is going to work best for you? And before you answer that, I want you to think long and hard, because often we tend to make a permanent decision on a temporary feel. You may not feel like it at the time or at the moment. You may not feel qualified. You may not feel like you're good enough. You may not feel like you have the skills. And so you make this decision that you're not going to try anything. You're going to stay in your comfort zone. So you become stagnant and you become complacent, and there's no growth in your life. And then you look back over your life when you get to be 50, 60, 70 years old, and you think about all of the things that you should have done and all the things that you could have done. It's kind of like if you're making six figures, and instead of you living off of a smaller percentage of the six figures, you are living off of 100% of the six figure income that you have. And so when you become so-called quote unquote retirement age, or you are ready to retire from your job, you don't have enough money so that you can retire because you did not put enough money back. You don't have a nest egg. You don't have enough saved. So you have to continue working. It's the same thing like that. So before you answer which option is going to be best for you, I want you to think hard about that, because when we are stuck in our comfort zone or when we have become complacent, it's easier for us to validate our decision based on where we are in the present moment. But I want to offer you a solution. I want to offer you to take a chance on yourself, to bet on yourself. Let's first talk about why you're stuck, or why we feel like we're stuck, because we're not stuck. And often we feel stuck because we don't have the confidence to execute on the dreams and desires that we have. And we don't feel confident to execute because we don't have faith that God has equipped us with what we need to pull it off. Did you hear me? Often we lack the confidence to execute on our dreams because we don't believe God has equipped us with what we need to pull it off. Now, let's just say you feel like you're not equipped with what you need, but I believe you are equipped, because if you have been on the planet for any length of time, you have experienced some things that other people are going through. You have experienced some things that you can help other people with. And it could be something as simple as being a great organizer. It could just be anything. You may look at it as something simple. You may see it as if though, oh, this is nothing, this is just what I do. Exactly. It's what you do, but it may not be what everybody else does, or this person who is very unorganized, it may not be what they do. And you may be able to go in and help them to get organized. And I could name a number of things that becomes so very commonplace and normal to us because it's part of who we are. But we don't realize that it's not part of who other people are, and they may need help in those areas. So never think that you don't have anything to offer, because I believe that God has given us all something that we can offer to the world in some shape or form, in your part of the world. So, how can you get out of this rut of feeling stuck or being stuck? One, I want you to believe that you are already equipped with what you need to succeed. God has already given you what you need. If it's something that comes natural to you, pay attention to those natural inclinations that you have and don't take them for granted. Or just in case you feel as if though you're not prepared, you're not equipped. The thing for you to do is to get equipped. You may need a mentor. You may need a coach. You could take some classes. You can read some books. You can shadow someone who is doing that thing that you want to do. So before you make that decision to give up on yourself, to say that, hey, I'm not going to dream anymore, because some of us have been burned. Some of us have been burnt by previous dreams that, we've tried this thing and it didn't work out. So we have given up on life, and we have just stopped dreaming. We have stopped trying different things because we don't feel like it's going to work out. But before you give up on yourself, before you give up on becoming the best that you can be, think about it. Think about taking a chance on yourself. Think about the options you have and think about which one is going to work best for you long term, not in the short term. Often we make long term decisions based on a short term feeling. In the moment, you don't feel good enough. You don't feel you have the experience. You don't feel like it's worth it. But long term, you're going to look back over your life and you're going to think to yourself what you could have done, what you should have done, and what you would have done if you had faith enough, if you had courage enough, and you had belief enough in yourself to pull it off. So don't get caught up in where you are right now and how you feel right now. I want you to think long term. Think about how you're going to feel. And even if you can't think of it in terms of years, think about how you're going to feel next month. If you can't think of it in 10 years or 20 years or 5 years or whatever, think about how you're going to feel next month or next week. Are you going to be the same person you were last week? Are you still going to be feeling as miserable as you did last week or last month or last year? Think about it in those terms. Don't think about just the now, because it's easy for us to dismiss our ideas and not execute on our plans in the moment because we are feeling a certain way. I want you to zoom out and think about how you're going to feel if you're in the same position next month or next year. Think about how you're going to feel. And if you can imagine, if you can get into the emotion of that, and you can imagine how you're going to feel if you're in the same spot next year, and if it doesn't feel good to you now, then base your decision on that. Base your decision on that emotion, and imagine how you're going to feel and how it's going to work out for you if you execute on what you need to do right now. Don't base your life decisions on temporary circumstances or on temporary emotions. Base your life decisions on how you want to feel in the future, and base it on how you imagine yourself to feel if you stay right where you are. If you stay right where you are, how are you going to feel this time next year? Even if you feel a little shaky or weak in your confidence, remember, I can do all things through God that strengthens me.